What's up, guys? Ronin Man here. Good morning. Had a really good reaction. Thank you very much to the optimism video. A bunch of guys contacted me. Got some new guys in the private, unblackmailable, fucking incredible calls. Blowing my mind. Literally blowing my mind. Almost like I feel like I'm euphoric. Like, because I'm helping the exact kind of people I want to help. Like, if I had a dream, I would be to have somebody who knew what I know now to mentor me when I was 20. Seriously, that is my goal. That is in my mind at all times. And when I see the reaction of people, I just can't tell you how happy it makes me. There's no way to put it into words. You know, it's fuck. Yeah, it's beyond, right? So thank you very much. And thank you for trusting me. So I want to talk today about a very fucking heavy topic, and I think no one has ever done this topic right, okay? Big statement. I said the same thing about the marriage is doomed video. And I think I feel the same way about the sexless relationship video, and how to be the best lover she's ever had. Those videos, I feel like I just absolutely nailed the topic, and I want to do this again with the subconscious mind. And I think that the reason why guys are on this channel, the reason why guys are looking for answers, right? Looking for new things. The main fucking reason is that shit ain't working. Okay? So whatever people do, whatever they get told, or whatever you read, it's like, this is going to work for you, right? It's going to work. And then you try it, it doesn't fucking work, right? And then you're just like, you're not sure. Did you do it wrong or whatever the fuck, right? Is that information wrong, or was I not honest with myself? You're just in this thing. And the truth is that the subconscious mind is what controls most men. Okay? This is the secret, guys. I'm telling you right now. If you're frustrated, if you're in pain, okay, if you want to change in your man, the thing holding you back is your subconscious mind. Guys are absolutely shit at dealing with their subconscious mind. I think women are much better. Women have less shame about the kind of stuff we're going to talk about, and more ability to open up. And obviously there's billion times more information for women, and useful, helpful, anything from free counselors to, YouTube channels. There's just very few videos for guys to really change, to really fucking help themselves. Everything, I really feel like this is why I just get so fired up. I look online for answers and I just don't find them for guys. Seriously, I don't fucking find them. And that really makes me sad, so sad, because I see I have to watch these videos for women, and a lot of the videos have, there's a secret meaning in there, right? I was watching one about personality disorders and abuse. And in the video, I'm trying to learn, but most of the examples were men are all like this, women need to band together. I'm trying to learn, I'm trying to change, I'm trying to help myself. And the video is telling me I'm bad. It didn't happen to me. It couldn't happen to me. It's my fault, And I'm I can do it. I'm capable of filtering that out and seeing the good in the video, because I personally will never give up. I will always find a way to change and improve myself. I don't care if I have to watch a video of somebody who literally hates me, but I know that there's something in that video that can be very helpful for me. And that's what I do. I look for that. I avoid the other things, but obviously it requires some extra RAM space in your brain. That's just fucking waste of time, right? So let's just get straight to it. Let's talk about the subconscious mind. Okay, guys are logical, right? You're basically logical, or you feel like you're logical, you think you're logical. So you think, okay, I need to change, or I'm kind of unhappy with this thing. I want to work out, or I want to travel. I want to stop doing this one thing. I want to feel better. I want to, sometimes what you want to do is not even clear. You just you're unhappy. Maybe you're unhappy with your life. And you're not I don't know what it is. Something's fucked up. I'm not where I should be. I got more talent. I got more skills. Why am I here? What, you know what I mean? There's this general thing. I think this is one of the most common places that people start in self-help for guys. And it's really like a great place to be because you're looking for big answers, right? You're looking for fucking real things, right? You're not just like, hey, I need to make a to-do list or some shit, right? You want to change. You want to improve yourself. You feel at a fucking very deep level that you're not doing what you should be doing or getting what you should be getting or fulfilling some kind of like, I don't know, like deep desire that you have. It's just so inside of you, right? This is the shit that really drives you crazy, right? You're like, I'm not doing my purpose, or I'm not on track as a man, like, fuck, how do I fix this, right? So the main thing guys have, I think, and this is for myself, and I'm going to talk about different aspects of the subconscious mind. Okay, so we could go into the examples of what the subconscious mind is. Some people will say it doesn't exist. Some people will say it's a connection between the body and the conscious mind. And I don't know what it is in that sense. Okay, I'm not here to say I know everything, but I'm telling you, I'm kind of a master at this one. So let me say my take on it, and let's see if it's helpful for you. Okay, so whatever the fuck the subconscious mind is, I don't know. Okay, all I know is that there's shit in my brain that makes me do stuff, and I don't know why. That's basically the subconscious mind. There's like things in my brain that are just in there, like ideas, and I don't even know what they are. Like they're so, invisible or like hidden or whatever. I don't even know. It's just like a feeling, like a bad feeling, something like that. And it takes a lot of like work to get it even out to see what it is. I don't even know, you know what I mean? Like what is going on in my brain, right? So that's the subconscious mind. It's the shit that you don't know what it is, and it kind of rules your life or makes you unable to do the things you want to do or reach the things that you see around you, or causes you to hide or is deeply shameful. There's many different aspects of what this kind of dark side of a man is, right? And I really, truly believe that men have more of this. I really do. Whether it's communication, lack of skills, or people not helping, or guys not willing to look because they're afraid of what they're going to find. Like a man, it might be partly one of the reasons why men have difficulty with this, might be because of the rigid roles that men have had, right? Men is the provider, right? Man is the strong one. Man is, and this right here, the strong one, the fuck is that, right? That means you can't basically look at yourself. Basically, right? You know what I mean? That's like society's, don't look at yourself. Just suck it up, man. Stiff upper lip, Suck it up, guys. That's what you do as a man. But I don't think this is the truth. I don't think so. I really don't think so. And if you listen to my channel, I don't think so. I think strength comes from flexibility. Okay? So, Bruce Lee said, be water. What is water? Water goes down a pipe or whatever, and then there's like things in the, like that block it, but it just goes around them, right? Water just kind of flows around, right? So I think that yoga, flexibility, obviously strength, having numerous strategies that are out of the box that you've kind of thought about in advance. There's so many things that make a man strong, right? And the ability to face himself and to face his subconscious. You guys, I'm telling you right fucking now, most fucking guys are like paper cutouts in those fucking old Western movies. The Western movie, you guys he's walking down the main street, right? You got the saloon, you got the fucking general store, you got the stable, you got the church, and all this shit, right? You got this like tough guy walking down the street. It's a great example. Guy's got the gun, he's a manly man. But what are all those things? If you've ever been to a movie set or gone to Universal Studios, you'll see that those are just fake. All those buildings they're just a front. They're a cutout. That's all they are. There's nothing behind it. There's like two boards holding it up, in the old days, back when there was wooden and, they used simple props. Now it's changing with technology, but that's basically what it is. It's just a cutout. It's a fake thing. There's nothing there. There's no life there. Nobody goes to church there, right? Nobody buys food there, right? It's fake, right? It's like the fake market here. Not the fake market. It's like the floating market in Thailand. It's fake, right? It's just for tourists, right? It's not real, okay? This is what your life probably is like a lot of. And this is what makes guys so weak. This is what makes guys basically fodder to be abused, to be used. Okay? I'm telling you right now, most guys are fucking being used. When you hear the word pussy whipped and shit like that, this is abuse. You can put these guys down if you want. You can say, hey, those guys are fucked, right? That guy's weak, right? He's pussy whipped. Is it really him? Is it really that guy? Is it really his fault? Is he being manipulated? Is he being used? Is he a tool to provide satisfaction for another person? Is he somewhat of a puppet? Right? Why do men accept this? One of the big reasons is guys, you don't want to accept what's really going on in your life. You don't want to accept shit. And this is actually, counterintuitively, this is the exact same thing that makes your life shit. Is your inability to accept the shit of your life. In other words, right? The fact that you're pussy whipped, the fact that, you see your dad, you see your friends, and they're just doing whatever the woman wants, okay? And then you on the outside, me on the outside, society blames the guy. What if it was the other way around? And the girl was running around doing everything for the guy, kissing his ass, being super weak, being abused. What would society say? They would say he's abusing her, right? But you can't say that because the man doesn't want the man being abused, the man being run around and manipulated. I'm going to throw those words around the same. Manipulated, abuse, pussy whipped. This shit's the same, guys. It's the same. It's exact same, okay? Whatever word you want to use, okay? You can use whatever word you want, but it's all the same shit. The guy's being abused, the guy's being used, but guess who doesn't want to talk about it? Guess who does not want you to say that he's being abused? That's right, the guy himself. Why doesn't the guy want you to say it? It's all this kind of shame. It's this inability to see himself. It's this subconscious. It's all in. I'm going to say this is basically the subconscious mind. Okay? He's confused. He himself does not know. He does not know why he does what he does. He knows it's shameful. Okay? Guys know when they're running around pussy whipped, they know that ain't good. But, there's enough other guys doing it, and society accepts it. Guys standing around in the mall waiting for their women to go shopping. Guys putting up with all kinds of things that should not be put up with at all. It's not healthy in any way for either person, man or woman. Okay, abuse, this kind of shit is not good for anybody. Okay, so I'm not saying like, hey, stand up and all that bullshit. I'm saying like, let's have a real life. Stop being a fucking paper cutout of a fucking general store and start realizing, accepting that your life is probably, a lot of it is that fucking Main Street. Everything is bullshit. Everything is held up by some fucking 2x4s, right? And the way that you change and the way that you go to the next level is by challenging and by accepting the shit in your life and the shit that you've accepted. Okay? Now, this sounds really painful. Okay? Now, I always preface any kind of personal change with this thing in my mind. This is what really helps me, guys. I'm not kidding. This is like really, really big deal. Anything that's happening in your life, okay? Anything. Good, bad, things you're not facing, things that, you've been programmed to do, brainwashed into, you've been shamed into, whatever it is. You don't feel courageous. You don't feel able to reach out and do whatever that fucking shit is, okay? A lot of guys will tell you, hey, don't face it because you need a professional because it's too heavy, okay? Like I talked about it in the optimism video. If you feel very, very strong feelings, okay? Very, very strong feelings like you feel suicidal, right? That kind of shit. Okay, this is where you need to go, okay? This is where you need to go. You need to run and fearlessly go to these feelings of shame and worthlessness and all this stuff. And the reason why this is it right here. The reason why it's not scary, okay? Don't let anybody fucking bullshit you. It ain't scary. You know why? Because you're already doing it. You are already facing this bullshit. Okay? But it's even worse than that because you're covering it up. So you're facing it. Your subconscious is facing it. Your mind, your soul, your fucking spirit as a man is facing it. Okay? And you have the added negative of covering it up. That takes a lot of energy. Covering shit up requires a lot of energy. If somebody's stealing, let's say accounting, he's doing some fake accounting, it takes a lot of work to cook the books because you have two sets of books, right? One covering up the other one, and you have the legal one, and you have the other one, and you know, this kind of stuff requires a billion times more energy than just being honest, right? So you're doing that already. So the fear that you cannot handle facing this shit is bullshit, okay? You need to let that go because you are already facing it. And it's even worse than that because you're not only facing it, you are covering it up, and that takes a lot more energy. And also, this is the kind of shit that guys hate because you're dividing yourself as a man. You're not being yourself. You're ashamed of the things you're covering up, and you're ashamed of the thing you're doing, and you feel fake. You know what I mean? It's like all this fucking stuff this is the kind of stuff that takes a lot of energy, okay? It takes a lot of energy. So if you want to improve yourself, this is the kind of stuff that if you have a car, okay, and you're pulling a trailer, okay, or you have, whatever, like water in the trunk or something, you got like a 3 million pounds of water in the trunk, or you have, lead, you have anvils in the trunk, or, railroad ties, you're pulling railroad ties. This shit causes you to waste a lot of energy, right? And when you accept this stuff, which you already are accepting, right? You're already facing the whole goddamn thing. Once you do that, you're going to start to let that stuff go. And you're going to be able to change. You will be able to change. Okay? So let's talk about different aspects of the subconscious mind. Okay, one of the things about subconscious mind is the subconscious mind does different things for you. Okay, so one of it does is it kind of puts things together for you. So let's say when I learned Chinese and Japanese, right? When I learned those languages, it was incredibly meticulous. Like each character, I'm still not great at writing the characters, actually. I speak, but I'm not great at writing the characters. But each word and the tones and all the shit, I felt like I was on a slide. Okay, imagine you're like on a childhood slide, and I would climb up, but the slide was covered in grease, and so I would go up the slide a little bit, and then I would suddenly make a mistake or not know a word or not be able to be understood or whatever, and then when I slipped, I would start slipping, and I would slide all the way down to the bottom of the slide. It wasn't like I felt it was unfair because I was studying for like 6 months super hard. And it wasn't like, I never felt like I had any progress, or I had this temporary progress, and then I would slide right down to the bottom. And it was a really frustrating thing. And I actually have a friend who actually was studying Chinese in Taiwan, and he basically went crazy. He thought he was Jesus, and he was, he was wandering around in the rain. He lost his mind studying Chinese. It was very difficult for him, right? Because it was so much stress. Learning Chinese was so much stress on his mind that he lost it. He fucking lost it, right? And this is the kind of thing that I felt like. I felt like this kind of insanity when I was learning Chinese. It was really hard. But what happened was, I through repetition, okay, I had Chinese playing 24 hours a day. I played my TV when I was sleeping. I would even be walking out. I'd be out with my somebody visiting, like my mom would visit, or I'd be out on a date with a girl, and I'd have headphones on playing Chinese in the background because I knew that repetition was the key, not deliberate. Okay, subconscious was the key to learning languages. Okay, This is a fucking secret, guys. If you want to be good at languages, it's all subconscious. You think it's conscious. It ain't fucking conscious. It's all subconscious, right? So I knew that. And so I knew that I couldn't logically remember these languages, but I knew that my subconscious was able to put it together. So what happened was I listened over and over and over, and I felt like an idiot because the guys around me were all studying logically. Like, do you know this word? Or do you know this phrase? Or, do you know this character? And I was like, I don't care. Like, I'm just going to listen to Chinese over and over and over 24 hours a day. And I'm going to repeat it. I'm going to watch TV that I don't even understand. I'm going to repeat what they're saying. I'm going to look at their mouths. I'm going to look at the way their mouths mouth the words and all that. And I'm going to, and I know, because I had learned Japanese, I know that my subconscious was going to take all these complex, difficult words, difficult tones, difficult intonations, and like all the complexities of fucking human language, and my brain was going to eventually put it together. And so I was like, okay, it's going to work. Eventually, my subconscious, I trust my subconscious. It's going to put that shit all together. And a very simple example is riding a bicycle or driving a stick shift or whatever. You starts out hard and then you get good at it, right? You become a natural when you're first driving a stick shift. You're on the hill, you're worried, you're going to rev the engine and back, slam into the car behind you. But eventually it becomes very natural and easy, right? So that's a simple example of subconscious, right? But the subconscious is what drives all this other big stuff too, right? So, okay, that is a big thing, okay? That is your subconscious. That's one aspect of your subconscious mind, right? So you can say, like, if I look online about subconscious mind, okay, so I did look online before I made this, and everybody was saying how to program your mind, okay? It was like, you repeat these fucking affirmations and then you're going to be good, okay? You're going to say these, you've got these negative things in your mind and you repeat these positive ones, right? Or you use, the other thing, the advice they were giving you was use pictures, visualization. So for example, you have a board where you're like, got your goals, right? And you, instead of saying you want a car, you got a picture of a guy with the car you want and the woman he wants, or whatever it is the fuck you want. And it's got that picture, and then you look at it and you program your subconscious mind, okay? The next thing is obviously relaxation, hypnosis, yoga. For myself, I would say for this one, none of this shit works for me. Yoga works, but meditation doesn't really work for me. But what works for me is like 3-hour walks. 3-hour walks. After 3 hours with an audiobook in my head, it becomes a meditation for me. Really, truly, truly, truly. At the deepest level. I go into a state that's almost, I can only describe as spiritual. Like I just have lost all of myself. I'm completely relaxed and open to ideas. And this is what I used to do when I was studying Chinese. I would walk for like 10 hours a day or more. One day I walked for 14 hours straight. I mean, I had a gallon of water, and I was walking on this track, and I would just come and get the water and keep walking, and so, but I was my subconscious mind, right? I was putting the ideas. I was going into a meditative state, right? So these things work, okay? Affirmations, pictures, relaxation, habit or routine. This works too, right? You set up a routine. So for example, for myself, one thing my parents did, my mom did, which was great, is she never had any shit food in the house. Okay, there was no shit food in the house ever. She never bought shit food, so that there was nothing there to eat that was easy. Everything. If I wanted some shit food, I had to go to McDonald's. I had to go out. Right? The good food was in the house. So that was one thing my mom taught me. So habits can create, you don't have to even worry about your subconscious mind, because if your subconscious mind is sabotaging you, but in your house is only garlic and fucking oatmeal and brown rice and vegetables and, spinach and high quality carbs and nuts and seeds, if that's all you've got, your laziness, okay, of wanting to go outside and put on your shoes and all that is going to make you just kind of put you down that track of eating that good food. So sometimes you don't even need your subconscious mind. You can just change your life by habit, right? So habit is one really good thing. So if you live in an area where it makes it easy to do whatever you want to do, this is a great way to program your life, right? So this is another way of like personal change. And eventually this does affect your subconscious, because you start to look at shit food as like evil or something. You just don't want it anymore. Like So that is actually a powerful thing. So that's a powerful way to change yourself, right? So there's all this stuff, right? So let's talk. It works in the negative, right? So if you have like, bad environment, or, if you're, I don't know, if a guy wants to fucking meet women and he's working in a fucking oil patch with a bunch of hairy dudes, that's probably not the best place for him to be, right? Because it can work in the negative, right? Your habits and all that stuff, right? So having the right things set up. Okay, so it seems simple, right? So I don't think so. I do not think so. I want to talk about some aspects, and this has never been talked about, is the subconscious mind. What is driving you? And I'm going to talk about myself, my examples. Okay, so I talked about before, my dad was abusive to me as a kid. And I could not understand what that meant until I had this recent experience that actually broke open a lot of things in my mind and allowed me to venture deep into the subconscious mind of myself. And that's partly why I'm making this video right now, is because it's hot on my mind. I have gone there, guys. I've already gone there, okay, in a fucking very deep way. And this is what I'm bringing back, gems right now for you guys. So I was thinking back, and I could never figure out what my dad did. It was complex. Like he would we'd beat me and all that stuff. But that wasn't enough. That wasn't really, because I don't know. I'm pretty, I don't know, versatile. Like someone punches me in the face, it's not going to ruin my day. It's not going to ruin my life. Like what was it that would ground me down that I felt was so abusive, right? What was it that I couldn't understand? What it was that caused me to change my life so much? I believe that the abuse that I suffered of my dad, 13, 14, 15 years old, changed my life. It totally changed the trajectory of my life completely. And I could never kind of figure out what it was, because I would try to put a label on it, like this happened or that happened or whatever, and I was like, I don't understand. Like, am I just complaining? I'm like, am I some kind of bitch who just like fucking is just like, overly sensitive, or like, what the fuck is why did because I know for a fact that period in my life absolutely changed me in a very big way. And what the fuck was it, right? So I was thinking back, and I was listening to a lot of stories of people who had various abusive situations, and one of the things really, all of a sudden, I understood so much about this one aspect, which was kind of broke open the rest of my mind. So let's talk about this. It was driving a car. Now, just real quick, basically, my dad taught me to drive a car. And it was one of the worst periods ever. I remember when he was trying to teach me, I don't know, I just felt bad. I don't know what to, like I felt wrong. I felt bad. I felt terrible. I felt nervous. I felt, all these things that really don't make any sense, because I'm now 15, right? I used to steal cars at 14 and go driving all the time. So I could drive a car. In fact, I could already drive pretty fast and safely. We were stealing cars at 14. We would go into people's garages and take their keys, and we would just steal cars. We'd put them back, and sometimes, things happen with the car. The cars, when you're young, where I grew up on the beach, there's no place to have sex with girls, so you needed a car, right? So I'd steal a car, and then all my friends would get in the car, and we'd go pick up girls, and we'd bring the girls with us, and the girls were super stoked that we had like a private place, right? We could play the music, and there was a lot of funny stories with this, because sometimes we'd forget the battery on too long, and then we had to get a jump start, and there's some drunk guys like trying to start us. We don't even know how to use the jumper cables, and it was just like there was tons of hilarious stories, actually, really good memories now. But we would. I could drive, okay? I could drive a car very well already. I didn't even need to take looking back, I didn't even need to take the driving course, because I already knew how to drive. When I actually took my motorcycle test, because I'd had a motorcycle since I was 14, the guy looked at me and he said, "How long you been driving that thing?" He stopped me in the middle of the test. He passed me, right? He's like, "How long you been driving that thing, kid?" And I was like, no, I'm not driving. He's like, yeah, he smiles, and he passes me, right? So I already knew how to drive. But why, when I was with my dad, I was a feeble fucking idiot. Why? Right? What caused me to be feeble with him? And because I was a nervous wreck. I felt bad about myself. I was like nervous. And then I look back and what it was is he was looking for ways. He's a very insecure guy. So he was looking for ways to make me fail. He wanted me to be insecure to fail. I know this sounds like impossible that a father would do this, but there are, one of the things about life is that accepting the truth about yourself and about other people is one of the most freeing things you can do. And it's freeing for everybody, okay? It's freeing for the abuser too. The reason is because he's doing it and it's true, right? And he knows it too. It's deliberate, right? So in the end, sometimes you're caught into a cycle where you are the bully and somebody calling you out can actually release you because you're like, no, it's not me. And then, then all of a sudden you realize like, maybe something caused you to be abusive, right? Something you were abused, right? It's like you get into that, you can actually change. Now, this is obviously not everybody can change, but it allows the sunlight to come in. And when the sunlight comes in, that's when you got a choice, right? Do you want to change, right? Are you malignant or are you capable of changing, right? So at least you give somebody that option when you call it out. When you cover it up for somebody else, you ain't helping anybody. You're not helping shit because you're covering it up just like everybody else. And this is where it gets into the subconscious mind. This is the thing that programs your life, is that you got all this shit in your mind and you can't face it and it's shameful and it's embarrassing and it's like, all this stuff, right? So either way, so through all this process, I realized that what my dad would do is I would be driving and he was like, no, and I would be driving and I was like so nervous. I was like hitting the brake. I was like, here I was like totally comfortable driving. In fact, we used to steal stick shifts, which is a lot harder to drive than an automatic when you're 14, right? But no, I could drive a stick shift totally fine. Never stalled. I don't even remember ever stalling after I, originally we got it because I was all by myself and we had the car and we're having fun and my friends were there and you know what I mean? And, side note is that I think this abuse that my dad did driving caused me to be in some ways a stunt driver, because at this right now I can take, and I learned how to do this. I don't know why. And I think it's connected actually, but I can do a 360 on the freeway at full speed in a 72 Ford LTD and then just keep going. Like in those movies, when they do 360 and stuff, I can do that. Because I used to do it. You know what I mean? Like I forgot about it. My friend called me the other day actually, and he said, we were talking about driving because I was kind of going over this whole thing. And he knew me back then. And he's like, you were like an expert at 360s and like I was like a stunt driver. And I was like, really? And I remembered it almost like it was like almost in my subconscious, And then, I used to do stuff like that all the time. Like very, very interesting things I could do. I could drive cars up dirt road, like steep hills. And I ended up racing motorcycles, what I talked about in the motorcycle episode. And I think it's all related to my I wanted to be good, Like, fuck this abuse. Fuck this, I'm no good. Is when I'm alone, man, I'm going to fucking do it, man. I'm going to fucking do the thing that no one can do. You know what I mean? And I want to push the limits and I want to go, not just park the fucking car like some fucking salary man, right? I wanted to like drive the car and move the car and make it do things, and that caused me to, be a good racer, for example. And it was also anger. Because anger is one of my biggest motivators personally, is when I feel like someone's making fun of me or, putting me down. That's when I really have performed in my life, and so either way, because my dad would do it so much. So either way, he made me so nervous that, and it got even worse because he actually had two cars and he wouldn't let me drive one car. So he would shun me from driving one car and he would let my sister, my brother drive that car, but he would not let me drive that car. And it was a way of saying you're unsafe. And I was driving like totally safe. I've actually never had a major accident in a car ever in my life. I'm 53. I drive like crazy. I put like 400,000 miles on my motorcycle. I mean, why? It doesn't make any logical sense. Abuse does not make any logical sense. And my brain should say, obviously I'm a good driver, right? You know what I mean? There's no question logically. There's no question. I don't have any accidents. I don't, my driving record is stellar. why does this in my mind? Because it's in my subconscious mind. It was programmed in there. And so that's what makes your life so complex, because in some senses, I'm a great driver, right? I could tell you that I don't have any problem with driving, because I could say, hey, watch me do this, or let me tell you about that, or let me show you this. And then you'd say, oh yeah, he doesn't have any problem with driving. But actually, I had a big problem with driving, because my dad used it as a way to make me self-conscious and almost feeble. He had like a way to, like, I don't know, I watched one zombie movie where they had like programmed the guys and they would be like normal people, and then he would say one word and they would become these zombies, right? And my dad had this like ability to do that to me anytime he wanted to. He could just like enfeeble me, where I couldn't like talk straight. I was like so nervous, and this almost killed me one time actually, because I was driving and somebody kept ordering me around. It was not my dad, it was another guy, and he was just being a total prick, and he was like, do this, and I just suddenly went into the mode of my father abusing me driving, and I like literally turned without even looking, and I came so close to totaling the car. Oh my gosh. I still can't believe we didn't hit that. There was another car just came by us, and it was my fault, because I got into that mode of this enfeebled, totally crumpled, what do you call it? Like unable to talk, or like almost like a blubbering fool idiot, right? That's the mode I get into when somebody turns that switch on me, right? So. Because he did it so long, and I remember one other example driving was he programmed my subconscious mind with this, right? So I had to go in there and I'm actually right now I'm still reprogramming my mind, but facing it is the key. Okay, this is how you change your subconscious mind: is you fucking face the shit, okay, and you don't cover it up for other people, and you don't cover it up for yourself. Okay, so I remember one time we were driving, and he had his fancy car. My dad had his fancy car. And he was like, suddenly, he was like, you can drive the fancy car, right? And I'm like, oh, I can drive the fancy car. It's so stupid, right? Because I had a nice car, BMW at the time. It doesn't make any sense, right? It's just all illogical. It's all subconscious, right? It's all bullshit programming. But either way, I was like, oh, I can drive this fancy. So we were sitting there, and then he suddenly made this big thing where he said to my mom, he said, basically, let's watch him. Let's make sure that he doesn't make any mistake at all. Now, the car I was driving was an Acura, and it was I don't know if you know, drive an Acura. The more high performance ones is that they're very touchy. The brakes are super, super touchy. Like, it takes a while to get used to those cars, because they're low to the ground, and you just touch the brake a tiny bit, and then most cars you would just kind of slowly come to a rust. But the Acura that year, or whatever it was very sensitive, and you would just touch it a little bit, and then you would move forward, right? And it was the brakes were like good for like emergency, but they were not good for like smooth driving, right? So either way, I didn't really know, because I'd never driven that car before. So I started driving, and he was like putting the pressure on me, and I felt the pressure. We're driving down the freeway, and he's like looking at my mom. He's like, he's doing a good job. My mom's like, oh yeah, he's doing a great job. He's like, there's this it's almost like you're in an insane asylum when you're being abused. You feel like you're in a movie, like a bad movie or a B movie or something, right? But I remember the exact scene. I was sitting there, I was driving. Here I am, a full adult, coming back to the States from wherever I was living at the time. And I was being judged like this really harsh judge driving down the freeway. So what happened was I went to park when we got to a rest area, and I touched the brake, because I hadn't really used the brake yet, because I got on the freeway. And I touched the brake a little too hard, where my dad's head just slightly went forward a tiny bit. And then he looked down, and then my mom looked down. And they knew, I knew I was judged dangerous and unsafe. And this sounds so crazy coming from Ronin Man, right? But this is the kind of shit that you have to face if you want to be a man in control of his life. Okay? This kind of shit. It's like, it sounds insane, but these are the things that drive you. These kind of like embarrassing, weird things, because you have so many good things in your life, right? You clean these things out, man. It's like your engine's going to run hot, right? It's going to run good, clean. So either way, let's go back in the story. So I knew I failed, but it was like something I was raised with, this abuse. So I couldn't even say anything. I just felt like terrible about myself. Like, I felt like I'm a loser. Like I can't even park a car, right? Now here I am, like a better driver. I can drive so fast. Like I can race. I'm a natural fucking racer. Like I don't have any fear, like I don't know, like, but here I am parking when everybody's pressuring me and looking at me and judging me. It's like all of a sudden I'm nervous, because even the brake, I would have done it smooth if I was with my friends. I wouldn't have, hit it too hard. And then I accepted that now I wasn't allowed to drive the car anymore. I just like sat in the back seat. I went to the back seat like a dog, a beaten dog, right? And it was just like this shameful feeling. Now, the reason why I tell you that story is a couple of reasons. One is it came out of what I learned from this recent relationship. And the interesting thing about that is abusive people are looking for ways. They're looking for your weakness, okay? Abusive people are very methodical. And they know they're looking for things like, they're looking for kind of a soft spot that you have that they can kind of take advantage of, where they can take control of you, okay? And what's interesting was this girl that I had recently. She came to my house, my parents' house, and my dad, he said something about my driving. He said these exact words. He said, he hasn't driven in America for 28 years. So he's not basically like safe or whatever. And the thing is, this is how I figured out I was in an abusive situation, is because the girl took the exact words that my dad used to describe my driving. She suddenly saw, because he knows I'm very confident. I'm like able to do shit. I'm like not a man who's like easy to control. You have to look super hard for like that chink in the armor, because I don't have any shame. I don't have like secret sex things I'm embarrassed about. I don't have like a lot of secrets. Like when you meet me and you see me, it's like basically fucking me, like I don't have anything. It's not like, I think most guys have a lot of sexual shit. They have a lot of stuff that they're hiding, right? For me, I don't have many things. So it's difficult to find that thing in myself that you're going to be able to use me or somehow program my mind with. So when she saw that, she used it. And when I started driving, immediately after that, when I got back to Las Vegas, she started to put all this pressure on me when we were driving. And she was like, no, not here, not here. And she started to do this. She started to tell me just as we got to a turn. So let's say you're coming up to a turn, and just before the turn, she would tell me where to turn. She got to the habit where she wouldn't tell me where we were going. We would just be driving somewhere, and I was driving, and then she would tell me too late, so I missed the turn. And then I would be like, I was always wrong. And she started doing this, and she said the exact words my dad used, 28 years, this and that. And this was once I came to grips with the situation with my dad, it was very easy to see that I was dealing with a malignant person with this girl, because I couldn't put words into it. Why do I feel this way? I feel bad around her. I feel like this is not comfortable. There's something wrong here. But when I saw that she was deliberately using something that an abuser had trained me and used the same words and she would start to like, almost like, she wouldn't yell at me. Like, it was like I was always wrong in driving. And she wouldn't give me the address of where we're going. She would never do that. She would always just, the last minute turn here, turn out, and I was like, kind of like driving. I'm like, and the thing is you would think, okay, Ronin man, a lot of experienced women, this would never happen to him. He could never do this. The reason why is because it goes back to from childhood. This shit is like, I was abused from childhood. And so I was programmed, and this malignant person actually saw that I had this weakness and started to use it against me. Everything from the social pressure to the deliberately making mistakes, the harsh judgment of any kind of thing. And also, actually, she used another word that he used, is my dad used to say to me, which is so fucking evil. He used to say, like he made this like big thing. He'd say, if you crash my car, I can't afford a new car and it will ruin my life. And he made this big fucking victim thing. And I was like, I never crashed a car in my life. Like, why would, but either way, it made me very nervous, because I thought, not only am I like being judged on all the little things I'm doing, like all of a sudden it's his whole life, his retirement. It doesn't make any sense because he had money. It's like, doesn't make any sense, but this kind of stuff doesn't make sense. Okay. subconscious abuse, things that are holding you back in life. This shit doesn't make any sense, guys. And this is part of how you change your mind. This is how you change your life, is you face the shit that doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make any sense, right? You're like, logically, your friend's going to say, don't worry about that. It doesn't bother you. Yeah, you're fine, But that ain't going to make you change your life, right? You change your life by getting into the shit that doesn't make any sense, but is controlling your life, okay? It's controlling your life. It's your subconscious is what is controlling your life. Logically, guys can figure things out. They can read books. They can change their habits. But the subconscious is what's holding you back. It's this illogical. It's the accepting of the illogic and also the shame of what you allowed in your life, right? Because a lot of the things that you allowed make you really embarrassed. Because I was really embarrassed because I was like, why did I allow mom and dad to do that? Like, why did I allow it? So it's like two things. One is what he did, but the other thing is like, my big shame was like, why did I allow it? And then I think back, well, why did I allow this girl to do it? Now, to give myself a pat on the back, it didn't last very long, and I was the fuck out of there. But still, I did allow it for a period of time, and it was because I was confused. She was touching on a very, very sensitive thing in me, and interesting. My mom was also abused in the same way driving, and it worked so well that she basically cannot drive anymore. She's enfeebled, and it's really hurt my dad because now they're old. My dad's having physical problems, and he's, running red lights and, hitting mirrors and everything, but he can't trust his wife to drive because he has spent so many years abusing her, making her feel like she can't drive, that now both of them can't drive, right? So it's like this terrible situation, but abuse is not positive. It's not logical. It's just based on some subconscious bullshit, So let's break it open. Right? So this is the kind of stuff what I'm talking about here when I talk about the subconscious mind. So this is the kind of stuff that you want to get deep into, right? So now here's another aspect of the subconscious mind, okay? Let's talk about something that no one talks about, the subconscious mind. Let's talk about jerking off, all right? So as a guys, one of your big fucking, what do you call it? I don't know. If you want to look at a pain point of a man, sex is one of the big ones. It's one of the biggest shames. It's one of the biggest secrets. It's one of the fears that guys have. And it's the one that's controlled by the subconscious mind. It's like guys are afraid in high school. Why do guys make gay jokes all the time? Because they're afraid they're gay, right? They're like, I might be gay, And I'm gonna go deep. I'm gonna go deep in this one. Okay, I'm gonna tell you some stuff that you've never heard before anywhere. Okay, so first I'll tell you a story of a friend of mine. He's gay. I've known him for a long time. He was not gay when I met him. We used to go pick up girls, and actually I taught him how to pick up girls successfully. And he finally told me he became gay. He told me he's gay and all that. Came out of the closet, whatever you call it. And I like this guy. He's a good friend of mine. Like we always had good times together. This guy, he loved fucking excitement. We hunted each other with BB guns. Like no goggles, nothing. We fucking hunted each other for real. It was scary as fuck. I got hit in the ass. No, where did I get? I got hit in the face. No, he got hit in the face. That's right. I got hit in the ass, and then he got hit in the face. Yeah, we were BBs. Fuck, scary, man. But either way, this guy was a fun guy to hang out with, and like he was like balls to the wall kind of guy. Like I don't think this guy. What I just want to tell you the story. I don't think he's gay naturally, but what happened was he was abused. Okay, so when he was a kid, he went to the dentist, and the dentist I don't know what he did to him, but obviously something sexual. And that formed in his mind, whatever, I don't know what it man, pleasure, or whatever the fuck it was, or trauma, some kind of trauma. And the trauma is what, when you're older, now this is the weird part. The trauma is what turns you on. Okay? If you were abused, trauma, sexually, this is the shit that turns you on later. I know this for a fact because, like I said, I'm not bullshitting about all those girls. All those girls, sex with all those girls taught me more than any sex therapist could ever learn because I was actually there with them, talking to them learning from them. And one thing I learned, and I'm telling you right now, this is a fact. This is a fucking fact, is that girls that are raped have rape fantasies. It's period. I'm telling you right now. And it's even more weird than that. It's even weirder than that. If you can get the girl to trust you, okay, completely trust you, where she feels like she's safe to tell you, this kind of stuff. Because we're talking heavy stuff here. We're talking like subconscious mind. We're talking like major shame. We're talking like sexuality and like the dark side of yourself, right? If you ever get, the trust of a woman who has sexual trauma, and I'm sure guys too, is what she will tell you is not only does a rape fantasy turn her on, the weird part is she wants you to reenact it exactly like it happened. So move over here, get on the ground, you deserve this, she wants you, and she won't tell you at first. She'll if you get her to tell what she really turns her on, she'll go through a very rigid, strict, I want you to do this, then I want you to do that, and I want you to do this. It's very specific. And so what happens when you hear this specific stuff kind of over and over, and then you start asking her, you find out, and this is the big shame girls have, and I'm sure guys too, is that what you're doing is you're recreating her being raped. Exactly. And that is what gets her the most wet of anything and makes her come like crazy. Now, it doesn't make any logical sense, okay? I'm not putting any judgment on this. I'm talking trauma and subconscious is so fucking heavy. It's so fucking deep that nobody really understands it, okay? We're talking like very, very deep shit here, right? So I know when I was a kid, okay, when I was very young, one of my girlfriends got taken away by another guy, right? And I really loved her. I was really crazy about this girl. And it was a German guy. And I remember it was before the internet, obviously, and I remember being very, very pissed off at German guys for a long time. I was like very like fucking pissed off at German guys, and then there was like some kind of European magazine. Like back then, it was like European and like American. It was a big difference, right? So there was some kind of a European sex magazine I had gotten a hold of somehow, and it had like German guys, and I was like, it like I would jerk off watching this German guy fuck this girl because the German guy had taken my girl, and that caused me a lot of trauma. So here I was jerking off to German guys. Now this is like, I don't know, fucking almost 40 years ago, but it was interesting for me because I was very ashamed of it because a German guy had taken my girl, and here I was, I couldn't understand myself. I was like, what the fuck is going on with me? I was super embarrassed about it, No one watching me would know, but this shit was all going on in my mind. I was like, what is going on in my mind is because the trauma from the sex or the loss of the girl is the thing that I don't know, like it like woke my sexuality, or it put a tattoo on something in my brain for a while. It didn't last, so long. I don't remember how long it lasted, maybe like 6 months or a year or something, but it was like, for a while there, I was quite embarrassed about this. I was like, I had this secret, right? I'm super, super secret because your brain is like, wait a second, are you enjoying this? Is it what you want? Are you fucking some kind of fucking cuck? Is it what the fuck's going, And this is all your mind. And every girl who's been raped, who tells you her rape fantasy, her brain is absolutely littered with ideas like this. She's just like freaking out telling you this kind of, you have to really establish trust before anybody's going to share this kind of shit with you. But this is where you want to go. This is where you want to go. If you want to change your life, you go down to this kind of shit, right? This is where the juice is, because you start to accept who you really are, and you start to accept life the way it really is, right? And you accept, just simply accepting the things that make you horny helps your life. Right? And not being ashamed of whatever it is that makes you horny, whatever that is. One of the biggest reasons why I think a lot of guys are not very able to be sexually, they can't get it up, right? I think one of the biggest reasons is that guys try to not go to their subconscious. They are embarrassed of what turns them on. They're ashamed, and they're not allowing themselves to go there. They're using their logical mind. Hey, I should get a hard on from this girl with big tits, blah 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 blah, whatever it is. But the truth is that isn't what gets them all stoked, right? It's something else. So accepting yourself, accepting that life is very, very complicated, and accepting your sexuality, accepting your shame. Okay, so for me, it was the driving thing, because I'm like, why the fuck did I allow myself to let this happen, right? I don't understand. But now that I've kind of come to grips with it, I realize, I really realize that only a very, very bad person would do that to somebody. Okay, only a really, seriously, a malignant person would try to enfeeble me when I'm driving a car, because the truth is, when you're driving, you can actually get killed. Making a mistake when you're driving is one of the most dangerous things you can do. And if you look at death rates, they're high, right, from driving. Everybody drives every day. Eventually, you'll make a mistake. And anything you do to undermine your ability to drive, a person's ability to drive, is like downright evil, because not only can you kill them, but you can kill anybody they hit with their car, right? And it is almost a certainty that if you make somebody almost enfeeble them driving. I remember my mom one time, she was so enfeebled. She was so freaked out. She got on the freeway the wrong way one time. And we were all in the car, all 3 kids. So the abuse that she suffered of being humiliated and enfeebled driving almost killed me and my brother and sister and her. So going the wrong way on the freeway is no joke in California, And so only a person who obviously has some serious fucking issues and is seriously fucked up would do that to another person. Okay? But see, that's what, by going there, by accepting this, allowed me to see my father in a whole different way, because this is a very, very malignant thing to do. I would never do something like this to another human. I mean, I just wouldn't. There's no way, right? And if I ever do find something that I'm doing evil like this, I really want to look at myself and I want to accept it, because there ain't no hope in covering this kind of shit up. This is downright evil shit, putting people's lives at risk in a big way. And when I realized that this girl had taken the exact words that my dad used, had seen my face, and had said, aha, I see a way to enfeeble and manipulate this guy. And she had taken that. That was what set me free. Because once I saw that, I was able to break the bond in my mind. Because I realized I would never do that to somebody. And so I didn't need a lot of other explanations, because it's very obvious that anybody who would cause another person's life to be at risk at their own hand is not only evil, but very covert and hiding, right? They're trying to, in other words, if you're angry at somebody, you go kill them, right? You stab them, right? You go to prison. That's like one thing, right? But if you're programming their mind to put themselves at risk, this is a whole nother level of evil, because you're keeping your hands clean, right? And, you're not just taking responsibility, saying, hey, I'm angry, I'm going to go do this thing, I'm going to beat this guy up, whatever it is that you're taking responsibility for your feelings. It's a completely different thing when somebody is doing it from behind the scenes, right? And they're programming this person to weaken their internal resolve or their ability, and then just kind of like letting it out there, knowing that eventually something will happen, right? Because when you do these kind of things, eventually something happens, just like it happened with me one time. It only happened one time, but it almost killed me and a bunch of guys too, because I suddenly went into this enfeebled mode. So it's not like it's going to happen a lot, but these are the kind of things that allow me to make big changes in my life, because I accept my subconscious. I accept myself. I get over the shame. I face the fucking truth, and that about myself and also about other people. And that's what allows me to see my current landscape clearly, because I don't have these secrets. I don't have these shame. I don't have this inability to face myself, right? this is what you want to do. Fuck this bullshit of subconscious mind. You read now. Okay, affirmations work. They're good. Okay, you can do that. You hold your hand like the Buddha, like the third finger and the thumb, and you can say, "I am free. I am safe." You can say things like that, and then there's nothing wrong with that. It's good. Once you get to the next level, but I want you to clear out the big stuff first. Okay, so it's the big negative stuff that's controlling you, that's making you crumple inside, or feel embarrassed to be alive, or causing you not to do the big things that you need to do. Because in the end, I'll end with this, is that anything that anybody did to you or happened to you that is in your subconscious mind now is a construct. And it's relatively easy to get rid of it. Okay? It's not as difficult as you think. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not that difficult. It's about facing this. And once you face it, you realize, holy fuck, this person was deliberately put my life at risk. And once you realize that, you're just like, what kind of person would do that? No matter how they act on the outside, like, that isn't by mistake, right? And it gives you resolve. It allows you to make big changes in your life very quickly, because now you can see the other person for what they are. You can see that. And then the answer becomes very fucking obvious, right? It becomes very obvious because now you can see, like, if a building in California, if it cracks from an earthquake, and the crack is like in a certain part of the pillar of the building, that whole building needs to be torn down by law. Same thing in Japan, right? The earthquake places. And so you find this crack and you're like, holy shit, like, the building looks good. Everything looks fine. Like, I would rather not tear the building down, but you realize, if I don't tear this building down, it's going to get torn down anyway. I'll be forced to do it so I can sign all these contracts, lease it up and all that. But the fucking building needs to come down, the whole goddamn thing, because you're not able to fix the pillar that has been damaged past the legal ability to withstand the next earthquake. So you start to see that, and then you're like, okay, I can either do it now or I can fucking do it later. How about now? How about not wasting time? How about fixing it? How about facing it, right? So this is what I want you to practice. I want you to think about things in your life. And I don't know what to tell you to find the things that I found. But by hearing what I'm saying, I'm hoping that you're going to be able to look at your life differently and start small, find aspects of your subconscious mind that is holding you back and that is like putting you at risk. And once you do that and you get these things out of your mind, because you're not going to have that many of these things, guys. There ain't many. It's just that the shame feels so big, the embarrassment, the pain, or the whatever it is just so overwhelming. But actually you get it out and you're like, fuck, there's only a couple things like this in your life, right? You have to clear away. So whatever they are, whether they're relating to sex or relating to something that happened to you, something that you have taken on, that somebody did and you take it on now, where you're carrying the torch on fucking basically torturing yourself, that kind of thing. That's also very shameful, embarrassing, is that you realize you're doing it to yourself. But again, is when someone has programmed that in there, this is kind of a natural thing, right? And you can like totally forgive yourself when you realize, like, wait, this is the way my brain works. Like, my brain is not a computer. It's a fucking human brain. I'm a human being. Human beings have weaknesses. And if I face that and I look at myself, honestly, this is what gives you strength. This is what gives you ability to change your life. Big time. Big fucking time. And you become a very powerful man because you don't have these secrets. You don't have this stuff. You've gone through it. And also what happens is you get stronger, because once you've faced one of these things, you can face the other ones pretty fast. So if somebody's trying to pull it out, like, hey, like trying to like shame you into something or change you or whatever, you're like, wait a second. I see this guy's actually touching on something that's correct. And you know what? Instead of covering it up, I'm going to fucking admit it in real time. Because everybody has these things, right? Everybody has these things. And you're not fucking bad, okay? You're a good person. You're trying to change yourself. You're facing yourself. And that's a big fucking advantage. Most guys are not listening to shit like this. they're getting drunk and they're watching some fucking stupid comedy. You're actually not in that. The very fact that you're still listening tells me 100%, and you should tell yourself, is that you are the type of person who wants to do these kind of things and to be good in the fucking world, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be here by definition, man. So give yourself a break, but go in there, figure this shit out. I want to hear in the comments is shit that you figured out. If you really want to get into this kind of stuff with me, join Unblackmailable. It's $998, but I will get in there with you. And I do that all the time with guys. And it's fucking awesome. For me, it's awesome. For them, it's really fucking good. So either way, guys, thanks for watching. And thanks for your patience. I know this one took a while to get out, but have a good day, man.